Hello guys, we are back on a live crochet session and I have a very exciting project which we're gonna make today. It's gonna be a loop yarn. I'm using Alize Puffy Fine yarn. And we're gonna do a bath mat using this loopy yarn. We're gonna put loops inside those little holes. So it's like a pre-made bath mat. And we're gonna fill those holes with the loops, and will create a very squishy, comfy and cute bath mat. This is a bath mat, but I initially will be using it as a bedside mat. So yeah, it's very versatile and pretty cheap to make one. So let's get started. So today I chose green yarn and green mat. I will be using this green side to match the yarn, and that it won't be that visible. It will be less visible than this white pattern. Yeah, so let's get to work. Hope you can see everything clearly. I have a cute setup of my previous project. I'm very green today, so yeah, you can check out my channel if you would like to know how to make these pumpkins. All right. And I have a few crochet hook options. I have a 2mm hook, 2.5mm and 3.5mm. I couldn't find the 3mm one, but yeah, I don't know which will be better to grab the yarn through the holes. So I'm gonna test it out. And here my mat size is 65 centimeters on 45 centimeters. It's like a rectangle. All right, I'm very excited for the final outcome of this mat. Okay, so let's check it out. Okay, this one fits, but it's a bit tight. Maybe not this one. Probably this 2.5 will be, yeah, it goes very, very easy into the hole. So hello again everybody, welcome. Today I will be making a almost crochet bath mat. I will be threading threading the holes of this mat with this loopy yarn and create a very fluffy bath mat, or I will use not as a bath mat but as a bedside mat. So alright, I'm just putting into the first hole one loop, and for the corners, for all the edges I will planning to, after all, to hide the sides, I will go like a braid all around, like a chain all around. So in all of the first stitches all the way around this side and here, I will do 2 loops, if they would fit actually. Just let's try. So another loop, okay, it's a bit tight but will do the job. So yeah, so all the way around in the sides I'm gonna do 2 loops. Hello, who just joined, welcome. Write in the comments where are you, in which country you are watching me. I'm very curious. So in the corner we need to add 3, because yeah, just as making a bag, corners should have more loops to create a very nice like rounded shape. Yeah, so it should look like this. So 1 for this side, 1 for the corner, and 1 for this side, that it would create a very nice, just I'm gonna imitate that corner. Yeah, so it will look like this. Okay, so all the corners 3 loops, all the edges around 2 loops inside 1. Oh, thank you. I hope it will turn out nice. So okay, now I'm trying to skip 1 and go into the next one. Yeah, something like that. I want to be it very like thick, so I am skipping only one whole skip and go into the next one. Just like that. Yeah, and I am fixing it with the fingers that it would go all the way. Alright, so I forgot that we need 2 in 1, so I'm just gonna go back and take the second loop in the same. Yes, so here I have 2 loops in the same hole, then skipping 1 and going into another. Like that, and grabbing 1 more into the same and taking out like that. So yes, 2 loops. Then again I'm skipping, going into the next, 1 loop, and into the same I'm grabbing another loop. Yep. So this like edge will be a bit thicker because we have more loops, but it will create a very nice edge to hide those white parts of the mat. So I skip one, go into the next. So I bought this mat just from a home, how they are called, home improvement stores. They are usually like measured by meters, so you can take as much as you need, and they are not that expensive. So add plus the yarn, it's very cheap project. Skipping one, going to the next. So this is how it looks from the back. So all those lines will be filled with the yarn. So this is how I'm doing from the back. Just grabbing the hook and pulling it out. Skipping one, going into the next. Yeah, as I'm doing 2 loops in one row, in one stitch, as if you could call them stitches. They look like stitches, so I will call them stitches. So as I'm doing 2 loops in one stitch, yeah, it's not that much, not going that fast, but I hope to finish it faster. And I want to fill all these lines and to see how it will look and how it feels. Like, this yarn is very soft, so I believe it will be the best thing after getting up in the morning to put the feet on this mat, feet on this mat. So yeah. Already imagine tomorrow morning will be very exciting. So tell me, how is your Sunday going? What are you doing? What are your plans? What you are planning to make? Because it's a perfect day to do some crafting. To relax, to enjoy the sun while it's still here, while we have a very nice weather. I'm skipping one, I'm going to the next. And in the same, I'm gonna grab another. Yes. I love how it looks already. So I'm doing it with the Alize Puffy Fine. So this yarn has those smaller loops, because there are like two types of this yarn, like a bit like chunkier loops and these like tinier loops. So yeah, I believe you can do it with either of these yarns. Just I believe it's a bit easier to go through those tiny holes with the smaller loops. But if you go with the bigger loops, you would need to do like bigger gaps, maybe like 2 or 3 in between those loops. But here I'm doing only one, because I want to be it like very thick mat, very fluffy. And in the same, I'm going with another one more. Hello, who just joined. I am making this almost crochet bath mat using this very cutesy loop yarn. It's a very easy DIY project, which you're gonna need just this bath mat, a loop yarn and a hook. Sorry for the noise. So tell me, how's your Sunday going? What are your plans? What you are planning to do? Is it a very chill Sunday? Or you're having some very intense plans for this weekend? So my today's plan is to finish this bath mat. I will be using not really as a bath mat, more like a bedside mat. So it's very, very versatile. You can even make it for your living room. You can choose the colors you like and make this loop rug for your living room, because rugs are pretty expensive and you want to get a bigger one. So why not to make it yourself? And this is very nice because you can wash it in your washing machine when it gets dirty, so you don't need to use any specific equipment to clean. So I have this ball. It's I believe, if I remember, it's like a full size ball, and here we have 14.5 meters. It's almost 16 yards of yarn. We'll see how much we will need because I have 2.5 balls. So hope it will be enough to finish this 45 and 65 centimeter rectangle. What do you think about it? Would you like this to be as your bedside mat or bath mat? Would you enjoy putting your feet on this very fluffy material? I'm using this yarn to make baby blankets as well, because it's very easy you can make it with your fingers. You don't need a hook while crocheting, or like finger knitting as it is called. But here I am calling crocheting because I'm using crochet hook. I'm going into the stitches and grabbing the yarn, so it is basically crocheting. But it's a very interesting DIY. I hope you're gonna like it and you will try to make it yourself. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. Hello, hello. I would say this mat and my yarn color is almost a perfect match for to be together. So I'm almost at the end of first row. The next row should be going faster because I will do only one loop in each of the stitch, each of the holes. Don't know how to put it. Oh, sorry. Not sure how to put that you can see it clearly. clearer, so maybe like this. Hello to who just joined. How are you? How is your Sunday going? I am making a bath mat, DIYing a bath mat with this loopy yarn. Already, this is what already is going so far. So I'm very excited for the final outcome of this mat. Alright, so very few holes left to fill for this row. I'm doing 2 loops in each stitch, not each, I'm skipping one, but in which I'm doing 2 loops, because I will do, it's like a braided corner around to hide all the white parts that I don't want that it would be visible. And in each corner. Alright, so here I am left with a free hole, so I'm just gonna do one here, and then in the next I will do, I'm not skipping like the last, so I am doing here 2. So in total for the corner I have 3 loops. Yeah, so all of these will be my corner. When I will do the braid, I will take this for this side, one for corner, and another will be for this edging. So yeah, this is how it looks. So fluffy, so cozy looking already. Alright, so diving into the next row. So in the first I will do two loops. And now again, as usual, I'm skipping one and going into the next. And now just one loop. Skipping one, going into the next, one loop. Skipping one hole and going into the next and grabbing one loop. Skipping one into the next, one loop. And basically this is what we're gonna do for the rest of the rows. One loop in every second hole, every second stitch, as I am calling those. They look like stitches, so I am skipping one and going into the next with one loop. Skipping one into the next, one loop. Just make sure that you are not skipping any loops on the side, on the wrong side. If you would skip, it wouldn't be that much of a problem because it's easily fixable, but just at the end to have enough loops, so it's better check out that you are not skipping. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please do that. I will be doing more live crochet sessions. I have not that I have pretty easy tutorials on my channel that you could try to do in different spheres, like home decor, for the clothing as well, for accessories. So I hope you can find what suits you, what you like to make. So yeah, check it out. Hello, if you just joined, I am DIYing a bath mat with a loop yarn and a crochet hook. So it's basically that we have our stencil of a mat and just pulling loops through those holes to create a very fluffy texture and to make our mat extra comfy and very soft, of course. So it's a very easy DIY. I bought this mat out of a home improvement store. Just the most basic bath mats you can find probably at those stores like Home Depot or similar. And I have leftover loop yarn, which I am initially using for baby blankets to make, but in this case it will become a very cutesy bath mat. Tell me hi in the comments, and I'm very curious from which country you are watching me. If you could write that as well, it would be very nice to see what part of the world is watching me. Hope you are interested and you will try to make this project for your bath. You can go and even try to make like a big rug for your living room, for example. Why not? Rugs can be expensive, but this one you can make it by yourself. So for the rest of the mat, it's basically a one row repeat, if you could call that. So I am skipping, going into every second stitch and pulling one loop. Stitch, if you would say stitch. So yeah, I'm calling these holes stitches because they do look like stitches. So I'm just doing one loop in every second hole. Just in the first and in the last stitch I'm doing 2, because then a second loop will act as a edge. We will do edge from it to hide those ends of the bath mat. So again, here I have three loops. So what we're gonna do, just basically then skip 2 and go into the last. Just let me have a look. If we would do that and do 2 loops, 2 loops, and this will act as a edge. Yeah, maybe it's not that bad that we have a bigger gap in between the last stitch. So yeah, just go into the last. If you have 2 stitches, go into the last and pull 2 loops. So we're gonna do the same with this one. Just gonna insert and pull 2 loops through the first stitch, only first and last, or all the rest just 1 loop in each stitch. So I'm skipping one and going into the next. Here I am grabbing the loop and pulling it out. Hello to who just joined, welcome. Today I'm DIYing this very cutesy bath mat and using this loop yarn. I'm using Alize, like this Turkish brand, Puffy Fine. So fine is because it's very small loops. It has even like a classic one which is like double the size of the loops, but for this project I believe those tiny smaller loops are better. So yeah, I'm just going inside those holes of the bath mat and pulling a loop with the hook, going into every second hole and pulling 1 loop. So this is basically bath mat, but I will be using it as a bedside mat. So it's very versatile. You can find a few ways to use it. So it's already looking very, very fluffy and very soft. You could do without a loop yarn, just with the regular plushie, this micro polyester yarn, but this loop yarn guarantees you that you are pulling, like that every loop is even, and you are not pulling higher, bigger loops. But there is an option to use a regular yarn, but then you have to make sure that you are using even tension and you are doing even loops. So I'm just skipping one and going into the next stitch and pulling a loop and continuing into the next and pull a loop. Everything is so green around me at the moment. This rug will be this green color. I just made a tutorial for crochet pumpkin, which I have it right here. It is also green, very like almost the same color of green, the same shade of green. If you want, you can check it out, how I did this pumpkin. I used a very eco-friendly hack for the filling of the pumpkin. So yeah, all the projects are green at the moment. It's like a little obsession. So this is how it looks from the back. And the main side. So I'm skipping one hole and going into the next and pulling one loop. For this job I am using 2.5 millimeter hook. It's perfect fit for the hole and enough to grab the loop. After pulling, I still need to go with the fingers. So basically it doesn't matter the size of the hook. It's just that it would be enough to grab it, to grab the hole from the other side, the loop from the other side. Hello, who just joined. Welcome to this slow Sunday projects. What are you making at the moment? What kind of craft projects? I need some new ideas, so help me figuring out what to make next. So I am at the end of the row and I have 3 stitches left. So I'm just skipping 2 now and going into the last. And 2 loops in the same. Like that, 2 loops in the same stitch. And the next row, first stitch as well, 2 loops. And now again, skipping 1, going into the next 1 loop. Skipping 1, or 1 loop into the next. So this is the yarn I am using today. Alize Puffy Fine. It's this small loopy yarn with plushy micro polyester. I initially using them to make baby blankets, but this is the perfect yarn to use for this kind of project. So it will be a perfect bath mat or bedside rug. So you can customize to your preference the color, the size, everything. And I'm going one loop in every second hole, so I'm skipping one and going into the next and pulling one loop and repeating like this, skipping one and going into the next, skipping one and into the next. This is a very relaxing project, perfect to do on Sunday when you are not rushing anywhere, just relaxing, watching some TV, your favorite TV show, or chilling outside while still the weather is very summery, at least where I live. And again, I am at the end of the row and I have this 3 stitches, 3 holes left. So I will be skipping here 2 and going into the last row and placing there 2 loops. One, and insert and pull the second, so the stitch is looking like this, and the second one we will use to make a nice even edge all around the mat. So in every first and every last stitch we are doing 2 loops, as I'm doing here now. Starting new row, so the first stitch, 2 loops. Two loops, and now going forward, skipping one, and going into the next. Skipping one and going into the next. Skipping one, going into the next. And just repeating like that. Hello, if you just joined. If you just joined, hello. How are you? What are you doing this Sunday? I am making here a mat using loop yarn. So basically almost crocheting, because I'm using a crochet hook. And these are like this mat is like a stencil with the stitches, so I'm just going inside those holes and grabbing a loop into the hole and grabbing a loop. So it will be very fluffy, as you can see already, very fluffy, very soft bath mat. Fully customizable to the size you like, to the color you like. I am very into green colors, so as you can see, even my decorations, the pumpkin is also very green. So I'm skipping one hole and going into the next one and pulling one loop and repeating like that, skipping one, going into the next. And I am using this yarn, the Turkish brand with the fine loops, but basically any kind of a loopy yarn would work for this. Even not a loopy yarn, you just can use this plushy polyester yarn, but the loops guarantees that you have even size loops. If you would use a regular polyester yarn, plush yarn, you would need to use the same tension always, not to make bigger, not not to make bigger loops, that all the loops would be very even, so it depends on you. If you don't have anywhere close to you available this kind of yarn, you definitely can use just a regular yarn. And just doing this by making the loops. Just go skip one and go into the next. So I am going into every second hole of this mat and grabbing the loop from the back and pulling. So skipping one, going into the next. And repeating this for the rest of the mat. So skipping one, going into the next. The hook size I am using is 2.5 millimeter one, so it's perfect size for these holes. What do you think? Can I call it crochet bath mat? Because I'm not really crocheting, but I am using a crochet hook and the yarn, and these are almost like a stitches. So can I? It is so soft, very nice feel to the touch. Telefono. Just a short pause because I need to charge my phone. And we are ready to get back to work. So I am skipping one, going into the next, and grabbing a loop. I didn't skip a stitch in here. What? Okay, so I started to do that very automatic. So I should skip one and go into the next. Skip one and go into the next. And I am here at the end, so I'm skipping two and going into the last and placing two loops in there. And doing the same thing with the first stitch of the next row, placing 2 loops. Two loops and the same, but for the rest 1 loop. So skipping one and going into the next, grabbing the loop from the back and pulling like that, skipping one, going into the next, grabbing the loop and pulling it out. Hello, who just joined? I am making a bath mat using a loop yarn. More or less DIYing the bath mat because this is the bath mat already and I am upgrading it with this very cute loop yarn, making it more soft and more pleasant to the touch. It's very nice that the loops are filling the gaps in between the rows. You can see here, but if it's laid down, you are not able to see those lines in between the stitches, in between the holes. So that's very nice, and it's so soft, so squishy. Hello, good morning or good evening to you guys. From where are you watching me? How's your Sunday going? What are your plans? This is my current project, upgrading, DIYing this bathmat. So my plans for today are this, and maybe later some gardening. What about you? I am here already at the end, and we have 3 stitches left, so we are not skipping one and going into the second, but we will skip 2 and going into the last. And in that stitch we're gonna pull 2 loops in the seam through the same hole, just like that. 2 loops, and for the next row, first stitch is the same, 2 loops into the same. And again we're skipping one and going into the second and doing just 1 loop, skipping one into the second and 1 loop, again 1 loop, skipping one into the second, 1 loop, Hello, who just joined? How are you? I am making sorry for the noise. I am making bath mat. More like updating a bath mat with this loop yarn, because this is already a bath mat and I'm just pulling loops through the holes and making it a more cute, more soft. more pleasant to the touch. It is very pleasing to do, to pull those loops and to see how it is very nicely filling all these lines in between them. I'm doing just a very simple. I'm just skipping skipping the next loop, stitch, and going into the second. And this creates this very thick loop pattern that you cannot even see the green of the mat itself. It is filled very, very nicely. Have you ever seen this kind of project before? Or maybe you did it already for yourself? Or is it the first time you are seeing someone do this kind of DIY project? This is how it looks from the back. Just checking if I didn't lose a loop. And just continue filling those holes with the loops. And at the back we have 3 stitches, and here I will be skipping 2 and going into the last and pulling 2 loops through the last stitch. Two loops, and just carry on the next row. So it's the same with the first stitch. We need to pull 2 loops and go again and pull the next loop like that. So we have 2 loops for the first stitch, and now just repeat the same, skipping 1 and go into the next. Skip 1 and go into the next. Oh, okay, so this is what happened. I skipped a stitch, so I will take out those loops. There's one more. Yeah, and I will fix that. Yeah, so just make sure you're not skipping those loops. It's not that big of the problem, but we want to have enough loops to finish the rug, so we want to have as many loops as possible from this yarn skein. Oh, and again. Okay. No loop skipping. So to avoid skipping loops, the one hand I am holding loops as I am going, and with this hand I'm just pulling those loops. So just checking if I am skipping one and going into the next, and with another hand I am prepared to hook that loop. So skip one and pull, skip one and pull, skip one and pull. So after finishing this row, I will be taking a break. It's already lunchtime, so I will go grab some lunch and we'll continue on working this mat off camera. So I hope you liked this DIY idea of using loop yarn and just a regular bath mat to create a very fluffy one. More pleasing to the touch, pleasing. So yeah, please subscribe my channel for more ideas like this, for more live streams I will do in the near future. Check out the tutorials I already have on my channel. All of them are very beginner friendly, with extra information on how to do stuff. So yeah, very informative, but at the same time very nice tutorials, very nice ideas to do for the intermediate crochet as well. So here I am almost at the end of the row. Skipping one, going into the next, and at the end I have 3 holes, so I'm skipping 2 and going into the last and placing 2 loops. So every last and every first stitch should have 2 loops. Just like that. I am placing 2 loops at the very first and very last stitch because I will quickly show how I will do that. I will make a very nice braided looking edge, like a corner all the way around it. So I'm just looping one of the first stitches loops, like braiding them to hide those bath mat sides. So, and at the corners we have 3 stitches to make 3 loops to make a nicer edge. So it will look something like this. Very first row, all of the first row have as well 2 loops in each, so that I could be able to do this very nice edge all the way around. So just grabbing one stitch, one loop from every stitch, and just going like this around. Just make sure you're not taking 2 stitches, that you are grabbing another stitch loops. Yep, so leave one and grab the next, and all the way around like this. So thank you so much for watching. I will update you on the finished bath mat. I will post it, maybe we'll make a reel about it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you like this idea. Hope you will try to make it by yourself. Buy this mat at home improvement store. Some loop yarn. This is the yarn I am using. And just a small hook, like 2.5mm one. And just go in the every second hole of this like bath mat stencil and create this very fluffy one. So yeah, thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel. I will be doing more live streams, more tutorials. Check out what I have already in my channel. For example, like this one, very fall looking pumpkin for your home decor. And this is very heavy. I used some eco-friendly filling for the pumpkin. So check those out. And yeah, thank you. And bye-bye.